Welcome to Brandstorm, the podcast that talks to the people behind America's brands. I'm Dan Trzynski, president of Platypus Advertising and Design.
And I'm Nancy Christopher, PR director at Platypus. Dan, people are always confusing marketing with advertising.
Yeah, they've just become synonymous over the years, and they're not.
Well, today we're going to find out what the difference really is. Our guest today is Nisha Gupta, the president of NGenuity, a company that provides executive management services and professional coaching to companies that want to grow. Thanks for joining us, Nisha.
Thanks, Nancy and Dan.
Well, let's start with a little bit of background.
So I am an outsourced executive after 20 years at a B2B manufacturer working as a global VP of sales and marketing. I started on my own, helping different B2B companies with new growth and innovation and new market development opportunities as an outsourced executive.
And Dan, you've worked with Nisha in the past.
We've worked together for
Long time.
20 plus
20
years.
plus years. You stop counting.
We're not going to count anymore.
No.
But Nisha, you've always put sales and marketing together, and then people have put advertising and marketing together. And I think the definitions of those things blend. You've always had a good definition.
Right,
I thought that's why I brought you
right.
here today.
So marketing, it's interesting. Many of us who are educated in marketing, I date myself a little bit, but we used to learn about the 4 Ps of
Right.
marketing forever, right? Product, price, place, promotion. And that was fine. And I read an article years ago from Harvard Business Review on the B2B 4 Ps, which are very, very different. And it's really struck me, and I've explained this to my clients, and it resonates. For B2B, it's not about the 4 Ps anymore in marketing. It's about SAVE. The
Okay.
acronym is SAVE, and it stands for solution, access, value, and education.
Let's dive into that a little deeper.
What do each of those mean to
So
you?
Exactly.
S is
yeah.
a solution. It's no longer just about a product. It's not about your product.
You have to solve somebody's
You
problem.
have to solve someone's problem. You have to understand your market, especially in B2B. You're solving problems. You are not just presenting a product. And so that's just a much stronger definition.
So it becomes more on the benefit side
It's
versus
completely on
what
the benefit
what the widget
side.
is.
It's completely on the benefit side. They don't care about your product. They care about their business because it's B2B.
Right.
So you have to be solving their problems. And so what solutions are you providing them?
Then access is how you get
Access
The
is
information.
all about how you get the product to the market. Remember,
Supply
this
chain.
is B2B. It used to be called place, and it used to be about the retail shelf or something. And this is about access. So this is about your distribution channel. Dan and I have talked about channel marketing in the past, which is a very distinct form of marketing, and that's all about
Right.
access. And it depends. Where do these markets get their products from? Because as manufacturers, they're very often not buying it direct from you.
And sometimes you're marketing things to your channel partners as much as you are to the end user of the product, right?
Also, differently, but you have to know your access in the best ways. There are multiple points of access. We used to use an analogy of oil and pipeline. Your
Right.
oil is the product, but you got to lay the pipeline. So
Right.
access is critical. It's not like any SAVE, anyone is less important than the other, but they're all distinct in their focus of marketing.
Okay, so V, that stands for
Value.
value. Okay.
Value. So it's no longer about price. You can be whatever price as long as you have a value proposition that resonates with the market and you can explain it and you show your ROI. And, as marketers, you have to understand that it's not just about the price. It's not just about, I want to make a margin target or I have this cost of goods. It's about what's your value to the market.
I think about companies like Sears who've it was all about price. And
Why they're gone.
exactly,
practically
which is
gone.
why they're practically gone.
Right.
I don't think they know where they are.
Right, because it's about quality. Value is a function of cost and quality and experience and so many things. It's not about the number. It's about the value you're providing and what's that worth.
And then E.
E is all about education. And, again, in B2B, it's, it used to be called promotion, which is just promoting your message. You have to educate. You have to educate on your value. You have to educate on your solution. You have to educate sometimes on your access, how to buy, where to buy. And it's interesting when you talk about sales and marketing, advertising is one subset of education.
Right.
That's the activity. It's not the end outcome. That's just a means to an end.
Let's talk a little bit then about getting a product to market. What are the steps or the process of getting a product to market?
So a new product?
Yes.
Sure. You've done a ton of new
a
product launches.
ton of new products, and I do a lot of new product innovation work with my customers and clients. And, it's first about developing the right product to market, and that, again, it involves the market. I'm very much so a marketer that is connected to the market, the end user, the end decision makers. Many B2B marketers focus on their channel because that's who they're invoicing, but that's not who's going to help grow your company the most. That's not who's going to help successful products, successful new innovations become $1 million home runs and multi-million-dollar home runs. It's the market. And so the best way to get new products successful is to understand your market and understand their problems. Again, it's about solutions. It's about new solutions.
Right.
It's not about new products.
You have to see a problem first.
Yeah. We used to say we listen, we observe, we create, we used to say. And you have to see the problems. And there's no shortcuts. I teach my clients, there's so many markets. And, I do a lot in the food service industry and restaurants.
Right.
There's no shortcuts. You got to go to the back of the kitchen. You got to go back. You got to observe. You got to see how they're doing things. And you have to understand how you can solve their problems that they may know they have or they may not know. I use the example of the iPhone. Did we know 20 years ago we needed this thing that did all these things? No. We didn't know.
I can't live without it.
So it's the same thing of innovation. What will make the market be more efficient? How can you help solve their problems that they either know they have or they don't know they have?
So once you identify the problem, you go to the back of the kitchen and you see people cutting their fingers all the time. And obviously then we need hand protection.
Right,
so these are, I'm going back to some of the things I know we've done in the past.
Right.
So then where does that go? To the company's innovation department?
So, it depends on structure.
Where's the process?
Marketing, if you have a very strong marketing department with product people and market understanding and know how to collaborate with your development team, either your engineers or your designers or however you structure your development team, and then you come back and it starts with a spec in the end. And marketing, I've always said marketing has to write that end spec. What do you want the product to do? How do you want it to protect? At what level? At what temperatures? And you also have to have, as I always tell people, you have to have a point of difference.
Absolutely.
Right. People come out with Me Too products, and that works.
Sure.
That works for people. I remember talking to an owner of a manufacturer, and it was a successful small company, and he said, we don't innovate. We just wait for our competitors to do it, and if it's successful, then we copy. And that can work for some people. I love innovation, and you can do it differently where you can leapfrog, and you have a point of difference. You understand the market, and you say, okay, how can we be different to solve their problem?
Once you have that product, it's been developed, you've figured out your channels of distribution, etc., what are the next steps?
So then you launch it, and then you have to launch it with many ways. You have to not only launch it to the channel, you have to launch it to the market. And, that's a two-pronged approach in terms of targets, and sometimes it's even more. We say there's vision makers, there's decision makers, there's issue makers. Depending on your market, there might be more influencers that you have to launch it. And what's your best way to get your message to them?
Advertising.
Well, sometimes it's advertising.
That's one.
Sometimes it's trade show
Sometimes
displays.
it's trade shows.
It's PR.
Yeah, correct.
Sometimes it's through your channel.
Sure.
Sometimes it's arming your sales force with really strong tools to get your message across. And that's part of communications. I used to call it marketing communications, or I do call it marketing communications. Advertising is one subset of marketing communications. Any tools your sales force is going to have to present that new product has to be very effective and consistent. You need a strategy. You need a communication strategy that's consistent with the product positioning, the points of difference, and your message of why you. I always say you better have a good answer to why you.
Right.
So then at that point, advertise, you've got the product out there. Is it just evaluation, adjustments, things of that nature, or is there more to it?
After you've launched, most of the time you have to relaunch. You get it out there.
What does that mean?
And you see. So you have to relaunch. You can do as much lab testing as you want, but when you actually launch and you get thousands out there, that's when you really learn what's working and what's not, and what all your field testing and your lab testing you did. And then it's out there. Hey, you know what? That's not the positioning. This is going to work much better for this. And you might have to redo your message or redo your ads because you've gotten thousands of people to give you feedback, or you actually had full production samples that you're trying, and it's different than prototypes. And, your value proposition might have been wrong. You might have to adjust your value proposition. You might, your education, you have to go back. I would say a new product is new for 3 years. So don't expect your home run to happen in the first 6 months.
Nisha, in your opinion, at what stage of bringing a product to market is it that you bring an advertising company into it like ourselves, like a platypus?
Before launch. I mean, you have to have them be a part of it because, like I said, and Dan knows, I don't like the word advertising because you're doing so much. You're a communications firm. You're a creative firm. And all these tools, the sales tools, the channel tools, the digital tools, the advertising tools, the sell sheets, the video, whatever you're going to use, the trade show display.
We did tons of stuff together that were nowhere near advertising.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of advertising.
Right.
I didn't, I've had a very successful marketing career, and I didn't run a lot of quote-unquote ads.
Right.
It's about tools. It's about communication tools. And you have to bring that in, your branding, your naming, so you bring your partner in, your creative partner in, I don't know, probably when you're in final prototype stages, you've gone to final tooling and your product's in the final kind of development stages, then you start your launch strategy. And your partner comes in then. They can influence your name. They can influence the packaging. That's a whole other thing. And
Sure.
B2B and the communication on the package.
So what do you think are some of the most common mistakes people make in the marketing process?
First and foremost, it's not understanding your market. Assuming without talking. And it's amazing. I have worked with multi-billion-dollar clients. They're relatively successful, but they counted on their distribution channel for all their information on the market. And then they wondered why some of their new products weren't doing so well. You need to talk to your market. You have to understand the decision makers, the vision makers, and the issue makers.
And I think the end user welcomes that interaction with
Absolutely.
the manufacturer. I think people hide
absolutely.
behind the sales channel sometimes and just go, "Oh, that's
Yes.
I don't want to get interfere. I don't want to get involved." But
No,
I
they
think
will
it's critical.
welcome
I mean,
it.
you were always you'd go right
We
into
do
the
it,
restaurant.
yeah. I do
right?
it now.
You
I
get-
do go right into the restaurant. Again, if we use the restaurant sample, it's not only going to the restaurants, but when you work with multi-unit chains, there's a whole corporate team that you have to understand. If it's operations, if it's the quality team, if it's the innovation teams looking at kitchens of the future, the chef. It's all about the food
Right.
in food service. So you have to understand all the
But
different
you got to talk
levels.
to the guy that's chopping the onions.
Also, right, because corporate won't even talk to you. If you don't
They don't know.
understand your operation. But once they know, hey, these guys care, they've taken time to go understand my current operation, then they'll talk to you about the future because they all have futuristic people that are working on the future.
What sort of sampling with that end user? What kind of tools do you bring to them to kind of explain what you're doing and to get their feedback?
You can do it in many different ways. People can be conceptual with just a little bit of stimulus. It can be drawings, it can be 3D models, it can be prototypes if you have them. I just did one a few weeks ago. We did it with a video and some concepts. A very rough prototypes. I'm like, don't look at what this is, what this looks like today, but just look at some of the end products.
Again,
that
it's
we
looking
can
at the
make.
solution.
It's looking at the solution. We haven't designed the product. The product can be designed however it wants to, but look at the solutions and look at some of the benefits of this solution. So you just have to get them in a mode and you tell them, I'm not selling. You put them in a totally different mindset when you sit them down and say, I'm not selling you a thing.
Right.
You ask me how much this will cost, when I can have it. I don't have any answers. I don't know if you'll ever be able to have it.
Have you ever been involved in an epic fail and been surprised by it?
Yeah. Yes, to the point where I had one epic fail. I didn't start this one, but I did have to end it where we had to recall it out of the market.
Really?
And again, it came from the market. When you start to do things and they are not working, and this became so unsafe that we're like, it needs to be recalled.
Yeah.
And again, you have to relaunch. We tried, is there a way to relaunch it? And could you redevelop it? Can you tweak it? Can you retool something? And the majority of the time you can't. can. You can fix it. You can redevelop. And even that's pretty extreme to have to redevelop it. Usually it's just marketing. Has to reposition it and relaunch it. But yeah, I remember the day we had to recall that one. That was, luckily I only have one in my career of having to do a full recall.
So how does someone like yourself help a company?
Now in your current role.
Now in my current role. So I become an outsourced executive partner, and I work with them, and I do a lot of talking to not only their customers, but also their employees. And you can learn a lot from your stakeholders. And someone like me with the experience I have and the industry experience I have, and sometimes it's safer to talk to an outsider versus talking to your boss or talking to someone who's going to influence your review.
I can definitely understand that, yeah.
And so I go in and I become a trusted partner, and I've had clients for years that I help with on new innovation projects and overflow projects, because everyone, there's lots of work and not enough time. I do a lot with the innovation and marketing, and now I've recently just trained to become a professional life coach and professional executive coach.
So how does that work?
So that is more one-on-one with people, with your up-and-comers or your executives who want to have some catapult in their own personal and professional growth and just need some time to pause and work with someone one-on-one as a partner, as a coach. But yet it's all about their own self-discovery. A coach is not a mentor.
Or it's not someone that's telling you what to do.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No, a coach is not telling you what to do at all. A good, trained, certified coach is listening and is asking powerful questions and is helping create awareness and sometimes very directly communicating an opinion with permission. And all of a sudden the client's like, wow, yeah. Or I said that? Yeah, you just said that. What does that mean? Yeah, why did I say that? And you create the self-awareness. And when it's within you that you've decided, I want to do this, it happens. You don't do it because someone else tells you. You don't do it because your boss tells you.
Sure.
You do things when you yourself decide, hey, I'm honoring my values, or that's part of my future, or that's where I want to go. That gives me joy.
I don't fit into these pants anymore.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever. But you have to find that out for yourself. But yet a coach helps you be accountable. I usually talk to my clients twice a month, and they know coaching sessions end with some homework. They come up with their homework, and they know that the next time they talk to their coach, they might have to report on their homework if they want.
Is that typically to become a better leader?
Really, it's to have greater satisfaction in life. And if you have a belief that happy employees are more productive employees, then yeah, they're just going to give more. I'd be lying if I said, every employee that's coached is better for your organization. No, some leave.
Sure.
They don't
Some
fit the
leave.
culture.
They realize it's not right for them. One of the things I love is from the book Good to Great, and I tell my clients, do you have the right people on the bus? Sometimes they may know, or sometimes the person might, I'm on the wrong bus. And they can discover that through coaching. I'm on the right bus. I'm just not in the right seat.
Right.
The best way to understand what professional coaching is with a 20-minute demo. Most clients are awed. Like, wow, that was the most unique 20-minute experience I've ever had with a person, where it was all about me. It was all about me, and wow, I can't believe I just said that out loud. Wow, I can't believe I'm having this emotion right now. And you go where your client wants to go.
So if someone wants to get in touch with you, whether it's the coaching side or the Marcom side, how's the best way to get in touch with you?
So it would probably be finding me via email or phone. All of that information you can find on my website, which is NGenuityLLC.com, and it's NGenuityLLC.com.
Great.
Thank you so much.
And we'll put that
Nisha.
in our show notes for those listeners, and they can find you that way too, or LinkedIn. I know you're a LinkedIn person
on LinkedIn
too.
also.
Yep.
All right. So if you like what you heard today, please don't forget to share, review, and subscribe to Brandstorm.
This is Dan Trzynski along with Nancy Christopher at Platypus Advertising and Design, an awesome company that creates perceptions that influence choice for a variety of regional, national, and even global brands on a daily basis. We hope you'll join us next week for another episode of Brandstorm.